The Matrix. Do you want the truth? Part 1 of 3. The Matrix, a science fiction film created by the Wachowskis, is probably one of the most influential movies ever made. Hola, from Colombia. With the present great world confusion, I wish to do my part to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness. Please help by subscribing and sharing these videos. Thank you. The story starts when computer programmer Thomas Anderson, operating as a hacker under the alias Neo, discovers the truth about the world he's living in. As he becomes aware of the existence of something known as the Matrix. After looking for a man named Morpheus, who can tell him more about the Matrix, he encounters another hacker named Trinity. After a failed attempt, which led Agent Smith capturing and bugging him, Trinity takes Neo to Morpheus. Morpheus vaguely describes the Matrix as this all-encompassing prison, as the world that has been pulled over Neo's eyes, blinding him from the truth. He also admits that no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. Neo gets offered a choice in the form of 2 pills, a blue one and a red one. If he chooses the blue pill, he remains in his everyday life and believes whatever he wants. But if he chooses the red pill, he'll set foot in the real world and find out what the Matrix truly is. All I'm offering is the truth, says Morpheus. Neo takes the red pill and tumbles down the rabbit hole. The Matrix is considered a philosophical film that contains many existing philosophical and religious themes, like prophecy, love, truth, karma, the nature of reality, and living in assimilation. But there seems to be a particular close connection between the Matrix and Plato's allegory of the cave. In this allegory, presented in Plato's Republic, Socrates describes a group of people chained to a wall within a cave their whole lives. The only reality they know of is the mere shadows projected on the wall in front of them. And they believe these are real entities. Then, one of the prisoners is freed. He leaves the cave and gets to experience the real world outside. But when he returns to the cave to enlighten the other prisoners with the truth, he faces resistance. This video analyzes the Matrix film through the lens of Plato's allegory of the cave, while exploring the following question: do we, as human beings, actually want the truth? Behind the prisoners burns a fire. There are people in between the fire and the prisoners. These people hold sticks with several forms: birds, horses, dogs, which project onto the wall. All they've ever seen are mere projections of objects that appear in the real world, a world that's alien to them. When one of the prisoners is freed and ascends from the cave into the real world, he experiences sunlight for the first time in his life. He's confused and needs time to adapt, as he's never seen the daylight before. But when his eyes have adjusted, he encounters all the forms he recognizes from his life in the cave. But they're different this time. Instead of mere silhouettes, he sees the actual entities, full of color and with profound detail. He then realizes that what he thought was real was in fact an illusion. Similarly, Neo has been imprisoned without being able to see the prison. When he wakes up from the simulated reality, his body lies in a pod filled with liquid. He notices that his body is full of plugs, and then he sees millions of other pods with humans connected to what seems a giant machine. After a supervising drone notices that Neo has awakened, his body gets unplugged and discharged into a sewer. After Morpheus' ship, the Nebuchadnezzar, retrieves Neo, he needs some time to adjust to the real world, just like the escapee from Plato's cave. A fundamental difference in experience between Plato's character and Neo is the kind of reality they face. In Plato's Allegory, the liberated man ascends from darkness into the light, from the lower level within the cave to a higher level outside. This ascension serves as a metaphor for gaining knowledge and becoming a philosopher, and thus obtaining a clear world vision. Plato's reality presents itself as generally more beautiful in comparison with the cave. Also, the freedom of movement in the outside world is a vast improvement. Overall, the real world seems way more pleasurable, and it would be pretty absurd to exchange it for a life in the cave. But the Matrix is different. Morpheus told Neo that if he chooses the red pill, he will show him how deep the rabbit hole goes, referring to the children's novel Alice in Wonderland. Tumbling down a rabbit hole resembles a descent rather than ascent into reality. This idea comes to fruition when Neo falls from a relatively pleasurable reality into a hellish wasteland devoid of sunlight, run by machines. As opposed to Plato's reality, the reality in the Matrix isn't beautiful. It's terrible. Those plugged into the Matrix live in a vast, colorful, sunny world, although with a green haze, resembling the late 90s. They also have access to an endless variety of human pleasures. But in the real world, there's only one human city left, Zion, where people live under subhuman conditions, stuck in the outskirts, continually threatened of being obliterated. Shortly after his liberation, Neo initially refuses to accept the truth. It's impossible, he says after Morpheus showed him what the Matrix is. He showed a typical reaction of someone confronted with the harsh reality. As the architect of the Matrix states in the sequel, denial is the most predictable of all human responses. We can see this when, for example, we discover that one of our parents isn't our biological parent, or the person we consider our greatest enemy turns out to be our parent. In such cases, the truth carries such a magnitude that accepting it shakes one's identity to its very foundation. Such a massive shift in perception generally terrifies people. Neo asks Morpheus, "I can't go back, can I?" To which Morpheus answers, "But if you could, would you really want to?" Flat out disregard of the truth is common. Many people prefer living in a safe bubble of lies to looking outside for the truth. Living in a cozy, false reality can be pretty convenient and comfortable. You just have to remain ignorant of everything that could burst your bubble. So instead, you go along with the deceptive narrative of the herd, often amplified by mass media and entertainment. But we also see the opposite happening, like people opposing common knowledge, adopting a false truth, like the idea that the earth is flat. So truth, by and large, can be easily fabricated. Continuation in part 2 and 3. Hola! The insanity continues to intensify, and there is no end in sight. Please consider joining us in our consciousness community at the edge of the town of Popayan in southern Colombia. I believe that now many individuals are ready to leave their home country, but just don't know where to start. There is absolutely nowhere to hide. Having said that, here in Popayan, there is good food growth throughout the year. The temperate mountain climate is 23 to 26 degrees Celsius during the day and 15 to 18 degrees Celsius at night. And it is like this all year round, which makes everyday life very comfortable here. Please share this information with your friends and loved ones. Uprooting yourself is certainly not for everyone. I'm in the position to make this challenging process just a little bit easier. There's a guest house for a long-term stay while you are looking for a property of your own. Pets are welcome, and there is internet. The airport, bus terminal, and the city are just 13 kilometers away. I trust that my purpose is to create a consciousness community right here in Popayan. Will you find a way to join us in paradise on earth? I also consult by telephone and offer tools so that you can find your individual solution by making contact with your soul. Please share my videos so that this information can reach the individuals who need it. My contact details are in the description below, as well as the link to Cascada Café Retiro and my website. Finally, please subscribe to my BitChute channel. All my videos are not available on YouTube. Infinite love.